All right, this is our week 2 2026 package B inspection. So this should be a quick one because they're growing really rapidly, and I'm pretty sure they're going to want an extra deep here. So we're going to find out how things are going. All right, lean that against the front here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're working on 6 frames. So let's start on this outside. They might not be quite ready. Okay, that one's not drawn yet. That one's not quite. And then this one they've got drawn. Yeah, so they've got that drawn, and that's all full of fresh nectar. You can see it glistening in the sun there. And then just want to double check, make sure that she's still laying. I don't have any reason to think otherwise. They've got lots of good traffic. Okay. Yeah, they're bringing in lots of good pollen. Multicolored pollen there. That's great. That means they're bringing in the natural pollen as well as using the pollen patty that we're giving them just to supplement them on these days where it's a little bit poor weather, and they can get to it really quickly and easily. Yep, they're all spread out there. Lots of good pollen on that frame. Everybody's nice and calm. There's fresh eggs at the bottom of these cells, so I know she's here. It's going to be really difficult to see, so let's see if maybe on another frame. Oh, they've got a little piece right here. This is, I call this inappropriate comb. It's just comb that's kind of wonky that we really don't want them to be making a different blueprint. We want them on the foundation, and that comb, it's called Burr Comb, but I call it kind of inappropriate comb because it's not what we want them to do. And they basically, once it gets started, it's kind of a pattern that just keeps getting worse and worse. They'll just keep making that bigger and bigger. All right. Okay, so there's a bunch of capped brood. So it's babies that is capped over. So when they get mature enough, the larvae get mature enough, they put a wax cap over the top. That is capped brood. Basically, that means that they are developing their kind of exoskeleton. So they go from a larval stage to the pupa stage, and they will be hatching when they are fully developed. And that's all worker bee brood. So they've probably got another week where they'll be hatching out. A lot. That's a good frame of additional cap brood. So there is some kind of these like open spots, which typically is a sign of a poorly mated queen or a failing queen, but in this case it's just because they have nectar backfilled into that. And so it's really just a sign that they've been working hard. They're drawing fresh wax. So there's mom. She's right here, and she's working. Even though we got her out here in the sun, she's looking around for a place to keep laying her eggs. So there's a little bit of Burr Comb here in the corner. I'm going to take that off. And they are trying to stay ahead of her laying pattern, but as you can see, she's pretty eager. Look, I'm going to hold the frame over top. So I've got the queen on this side. I'm going to hold it over top of the hive when I do this inspection on this back side, just to make sure that in case she falls off, she falls into the hive. And on this back side, I can see that there are fresh eggs. So she's been on the back side of this frame. So what I'm going to do is index some of these frames, or they call it Sometimes we call it checkerboarding. And what we're trying to do is, instead of the bees kind of being stuck on the frames that they're used to here, we're going to shuffle the deck ever so slightly just to encourage them to make some additional comb here in the middle of the brood nest. Last year, the package bees, they were a little bit reluctant or a little bit slower to kind of move across, and they ended up making some swarm cells. So in last year's video series, I manually swarmed that queen, and then they have a new queen, or I made a new queen for us. So I'm gonna leave these center 3 frames together. There's some bees kind of running between the gaps of these end bars. I don't want to squish anybody. So, you know, everybody's nice and calm. We're not using smoke. I didn't have the smoker out here. Just wanted to make a video real quick, so got all that set up. All right, and then what we're going to do, they are on the verge, so they have 1, 2, 3 frames to work on. So they are on the verge of needing another box. I'm going to go ahead and give them some pollen patty here. I'm definitely going to need an extra box next week. Okay, and this pollen patty, you don't have to get all the paper off. I like to put it right over, kind of towards the middle where the brood nest is going to be. And then I need to get this last frame in here. And then we're going to fill up this sugar water feeder. So I've got my 1-to-1 syrup mixed up in my milk jug here. And then very carefully pour that in. Trying very hard not to spill any of it. And these internal feeders have the little tubes that keep the bees from drowning. They got a little ladder system they can climb out. Okay, so that's full. Close the inner cover up. Everybody's going to be ready for next week. Be blessed.